You don't fail because you choose the wrong path. You fail because you never choose at all. You know that feeling. Laptop open. 10 tabs. 20 possibilities. New job listings, online courses, workout programs, content ideas. Your brain is buzzing, but your life is still standing perfectly still. You tell yourself, I'm just not ready yet. I need more information. Weeks pass, months pass, sometimes years. This isn't laziness. This is a specific kind of prison, chronic overthinking and indecision. You live in your mind instead of in your life. Today, I want to tell you a story. Because there's a name for breaking this pattern. In samurai swordsmanship and Zen decision-making, there is a way called Issen no Kiri, the way of the single cut. And if you stay with me until the end, you will not just understand it, you will feel it. You will know exactly what your next decision must be and when you will make it. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Man Who Never Decides Berlin. Night rain on glass, neon reflections, tram bells in the distance. Inside a small apartment, a blue screen glows. Alex sits hunched over his laptop. He's 29, smart, capable, and completely stuck. His browser looks like a battlefield of open tabs. One tab, Top 50 Remote Jobs in Europe 2025. Another, Is it too late to start YouTube at 30? Another, Best workout routine for busy professionals. Another, Should I change careers if I'm unhappy? His cursor hovers over a Apply Now button, then drifts away. He opens a new tab, searches. How to know if you're making the right decision in life. Scrolls, reads, saves. We'll look at that later, he tells himself. He's been saying later for 3 years. You might recognize yourself in him. Alex wants so many things. A better job, something that actually challenges him. A stronger body. He's tired of feeling soft and tired. A YouTube channel. He imagines telling stories, sharing ideas. But when it comes time to choose, he freezes. What if I pick the wrong job and hate it? What if I commit to a workout program and then fail? Again. What if I start a YouTube channel and nobody cares? Or worse, people judge me. He reads articles. He buys courses and barely opens them. He rewrites plans in Notion, in Google Docs, in his journal. Every few weeks he decides, this is it. New plan. New me. He changes direction. He rearranges goals. But one thing never changes. He never commits long enough to see results. And underneath that pattern, there's something dark. He doesn't trust himself. He doesn't trust himself to choose, to endure, to finish. That night, after 3 hours of research and 0 concrete actions, he slams the laptop shut. His chest feels tight, shame mixed with exhaustion. He grabs his jacket and steps into the cold Berlin air. Rain freckles his face. He walks with no destination, just moving because his mind won't stop moving. As he turns a corner down a quieter street, he notices a wooden sign. Simple, old, slightly worn. On it, in black brushstroke letters, Issen no Kiri, kendo dojo below. Smaller letters, the way of the single cut. Inside, he hears the soft thud of bare feet on wooden floor. A sharp shout, a clean strike. He pauses. For once in his head, there is only one thought. What if I just walk in? Chapter 2. The dojo of the single cut. The dojo is small, tucked between a bakery and a hair salon. Alex pushes the sliding door open. The air inside smells of wood, sweat, and something very old. Discipline. On the polished wooden floor, a few students in white gi and armor bow to each other. Bamboo swords, shinai, clack against each other, sudden and precise. A shout, "Men!" followed by a swift, committed strike to the head. At the far end stands an older man in a simple dark hakama. Straight posture, calm eyes, salt and pepper hair tied back. He sees Alex immediately. "Shoes," the man says, nodding to the entrance. "Oh, sorry." Alex fumbles out of his shoes, feeling clumsy and out of place. The older man walks closer, barefoot, steps soundless. "You are new," he says. "Yes, I saw the sign. I was just walking and—" Alex trails off, embarrassed at how random it sounds. The man studies him for a moment. Not unkindly, but sharply, like a blade resting in a scabbard. "I am Sato," he says. "You?" "Alex." Mr. Sato nods once. His voice is calm, but there's an edge in it. "Why did you come in, Alex?" Alex opens his mouth. No answer comes out. He hadn't thought that far. I don't really know," he admits. "I just saw the way of the single cut. It sounded interesting." Sato's lips twitch. Not quite a smile. "Most people who come here know exactly why," he says. "They are searching for something. Discipline, strength, or an excuse to hit someone with a stick." A couple of students chuckle in the background. "And you?" Sato asks again. "What do you lack?" The words hit deeper than Alex expects. He hesitates, then says it. "Decisions," he says. "I can't decide on anything that matters. I keep thinking, but not choosing." Sato nods slowly, as if he's heard this 1,000 times before. "You live in your head," he says, "not in your cut." He picks up a shinai and gestures for Alex to follow. They stand facing each other on the wooden floor. "Watch," Sato says. He raises the shinai above his head. For a brief second, absolute stillness. Then, a sharp shout, "Men!" The sword comes down in a clean, committed line. No hesitation, no correction. "The samurai had a principle," Sato says. "One cut. Issen no Kiri. You do not test 1,000 angles. You choose one, and you enter." He steps closer to Alex, lowering the shinai. "Modern people are very skilled with many options," he continues. "Very poor with one." He looks directly into Alex's eyes. "You are stuck because you never cut. You only circle." You know what he means, don't you? You run simulations in your head. You imagine futures, outcomes, judgments, regrets. You think about decisions the way other people binge series, one episode after another. And yet, nothing changes. Back in the dojo, Alex laughs nervously. "That sounds exactly like me." "Good," Sato says. "Then we can work." "We?" Alex asks. Sato nods. "If you want to learn Issen no Kiri, you will train here. Not only with the sword," he says, tapping the shinai, "but with your life." "What does that mean?" "It means," Sato says, "that every cut on this floor is a rehearsal for your decisions out there." He points toward the city lights beyond the window. "You said you cannot decide. Good. I teach people how to cut." He extends the shinai handle toward Alex. "First lesson is free," he says. "After that, you decide." Alex takes the shinai, feeling the unfamiliar weight in his hands. In this moment, without realizing it, he has already made a small decision. He walked in. He stayed. He said yes. Sometimes your life changes not with a grand plan, but with a small, quiet yes to something that scares you a little. You may already be standing at a door like that. Chapter 3. Shikai, the Four Illusions. A week later, Alex is back. He decided to return. He doesn't even fully understand why. Something about the clarity in Sato's strike stayed with him. The days between visits were the same pattern. Scrolling job offers, comparing workout routines, watching creators instead of becoming one. But now, there's a new voice in his head. You live in your head, not in your cut. In the dojo, the air is still. Students have gone. It's just Sato and Alex. They sit on the floor, facing each other. You came back, Sato says. Yes. That is one cut. Sato nods. Now we sharpen it. He draws a small square in chalk on the floor between them. In the old teachings, he says, there is something called shikai, the 4 illusions that surround a warrior before battle. They cloud his mind, make him slow, hesitant. He looks at Alex. You live inside shikai every day. He writes 4 words in the corners of the chalk square. Perfect certainty, permission later. These, Sato says, are your enemies. He taps the first corner. First illusion, perfect choice. He looks at Alex. You believe there is one path that will make you happy forever, with no loss, no trade-offs, no pain. You search and search for this perfect road. That is why you open many tabs. That is why you read endless reviews and comparisons. Yeah, Alex says softly. I always feel like there must be some optimal move, like a perfect job, a perfect system, a perfect plan. Sato nods. But reality is a field of imperfect options. A samurai never had a perfect strike, only a committed one. He taps the second corner. Second illusion, certainty. You want guarantees, he says. You want to know for sure that if you choose this job, this partner, this project, it will work. You treat life like a contract that must be safe before you sign. Alex swallows. He has spent years waiting for some kind of cosmic confirmation. But certainty belongs to the past, Sato says. Only what has already happened can be perfect and certain. The future is always foggy. You move by faith and feedback, not by guarantee. He taps the third corner. Third illusion, permission. You wait, he says, for an authority, a teacher, a sign, a moment when you suddenly feel ready. You think someone will come and tell you, now you may begin. Now you're allowed. He holds Alex's gaze. No one is coming with that stamp. Alex feels something twist in his chest. He remembers waiting for his parents' approval, friends' support, some expert saying, this is the right choice. You are the only one who can give yourself permission, Sato says. And ironically, you only feel worthy after you begin, not before. He taps the final corner. Fourth illusion, later. This is the deadliest, he says softly. You tell yourself you will decide later, when you have more information, more money, more confidence, more time. You imagine a future version of you who is braver than you are now. He erases the word later with his thumb. But that future self never arrives, he says, because you are training them to delay. Every time you say later, you sharpen your hesitation, not your sword. He sits back. This square, he says, pointing to the chalk, is the mental prison you live in. You wonder why you are exhausted. It is because you fight these illusions every day and lose. You, listening, might recognize each one. You wait for the perfect choice. You crave total certainty. You hope someone will give you permission. You rely on later to rescue you. But what if none of those exist? What if adulthood is the moment you realize there is no perfect, there is no certainty, there is no permission, there is no later that is better than now. There is only the cut. Back in the dojo, Alex asks, so, how do I get out of Shikai? Sato picks up the chalk again. You learn the rest of Issen no Kiri, he says. The way of the single cut has 4 pillars, just like these illusions. We will replace them with something stronger. He draws a straight line through the square. Next, we learn to draw the line. Chapter 4. En no Sen. The sacred line. On a cold Thursday evening, the dojo is empty again. The city hums outside, muted by thick walls. Sato stands in the middle of the floor with a roll of white tape. He tears off a long strip and carefully lays it down in a straight line across the wood. This, he says, is En no Sen, the sacred line. Alex watches, curious. In sword fighting, Sato explains, there is a moment when you cross into the opponent's space. That line is dangerous and holy. Once you cross it, you must act. You do not wander. You do not reconsider. You enter. You cut. He taps the tape. Your life needs lines like this. He looks at Alex. Right now, your decisions have no boundaries. You allow them to stretch for months, years. So of course they drown you. We will give them edges. He walks to the chalkboard on the wall and writes, decision, question plus deadline, plus boundary. En no Sen has two parts, he says, time and options. He underlines time. First, time. From now on, big decisions in your life have a clear deadline, not a feeling. Instead of, I'll think about changing jobs, you decide, by March 1st, I will choose, stay or go. He underlines options. Second, options. You are not allowed infinite tabs. You constrain the field. 3, maybe 4 options, no more. The line is the point where you say, after this moment, I will not add new choices. I will only decide. He turns to Alex. Tonight, we do this with one area of your life. He hands Alex a piece of paper. Write one decision you have postponed for at least 6 months, Sato says. Alex stares at the page. It's almost painful, how quickly something comes to mind. Should I quit my current job and apply for a new one in a field I actually care about? He writes it down. How long have you thought about this? Sato asks. Honestly, 2 years, Alex says. Good, Sato replies. Too long. Now En no Sen. He draws 2 vertical lines on the paper. On the left, today's date. On the right, your deadline. How long do you need to decide if this is a yes or a no? Alex thinks. A month? He suggests. Sato raises an eyebrow. You have been thinking for 2 years. You do not need 1 more month. You need a line. He holds up 3 fingers. 3 days, he says. By Sunday night, you will decide. Stay and commit for 12 more months, or begin applying to new positions. No more floating. Alex's heart starts to race. 3 days? That is already generous, Sato interrupts. Most decisions do not deserve more than a few hours. He writes on the paper. Deadline, Sunday, 23:59. Now options, Sato says. You are allowed 3 paths, no more. He draws 3 bullet points. Path 1. Stay where you are and commit fully for a year. Stop complaining internally and become the best version of yourself in that role. Path 2. Change companies but stay in the same field. Path 3. Shift to a new field you actually care about. You may customize these 3, he says, but you may not add a 4th. Alex feels the walls closing in, and strangely, a sense of relief. Finally, the decision has edges. You will cross the line on Sunday, Sato says. Before midnight, you will choose one of these 3 on paper. You will not keep the others as secret backups in your heart. You will cut. He gestures again to the tape line on the floor. Now stand here, he says. Alex stands on one side of the line. This is before, Sato says. Still in Shikai. Still playing games with yourself. When you step over, you act. You want me to step? Alex asks. Not yet, Sato says. Not tonight. The line is for Sunday, but I want you to see it when you close your eyes. You might need your own En no Sen. Think of one decision you've been floating for months or years. There is a date when you must decide, not someday. An actual date on a calendar. And there is a limit to how many options you will consider. If you don't set that line, of course you overthink. Your brain has no reason to stop. In the dojo, Sato finishes the lesson with a final thought. Indecision is the luxury of someone who thinks they have infinite time, he says. The line reminds you, you do not. Chapter 5. San no Michi, the Rule of Three Paths. Sunday night, 23:41, Alex sits at his kitchen table, the paper from the dojo in front of him. Three paths. One deadline, 23:59. He's been circling all day. He's listed pros and cons. He's searched, should I change careers, at 29. He's messaged a friend for advice. But now there are 18 minutes left. His heart pounds. Okay, he tells himself. San no Michi, the rule of three paths. Earlier that week, Sato had explained it. They were sitting on a bench near the river, watching people walk their dogs, the Fernsehturm piercing the sky in the distance. In kendo, Sato said, you must learn many techniques. But in a real match, under pressure, your nervous system can only access a few. So we train three main entries, three main responses. Simple. Reliable. He picked up 3 small stones from the ground. In life, you collect too many potential paths, he continued. You have 10 projects, 12 possible careers, 20 hobbies. No wonder you freeze. He placed the stones in Alex's palm. San no Michi. You are allowed a maximum of 3 meaningful paths in your life at one time. 3. That is enough for a rich existence. What do you mean paths? Alex asked. Big directions where your energy goes, Sato replied. For example, career, physical training, creative expression, or family, craft, teaching, but not 10 at once. And everything else? Alex asked. Becomes a no for now, Sato said. You do not kill them. You simply accept you cannot walk every road this year. You choose 3 that matter most, and you commit. Back at the kitchen table, Alex picks up his pen. He writes the 3 paths for this decision. Stay in current job and fully commit for 12 months. Apply to similar roles in other companies. Transition toward a new field. Storytelling, content, creative media. He feels the pull of option 1. It's safe, easy, no change. He feels the responsible adult voice in his head saying, stay, be grateful, don't risk. Option 2 feels like a sideways move. Different scenery, same inner dissatisfaction. Option 3 makes his heart beat faster. It's the only one that feels alive. But with it comes fear. What if I fail? What if I'm not talented enough? What if I lose stability and regret it? 23:52. He hears Sato's voice in his head. There is no perfect. There is no certainty. There is no permission. There is no later. He realizes something. He is waiting for the fear to go away before he chooses. But fear is not a sign to stop. Fear is the price of an honest decision. 23:56. He circles option 3. His hand shakes. He writes beneath it, I choose path 3. For the next 2 years, I will move my work towards storytelling, content, creative media. I accept the risk. I accept the loss of other paths. Signed, Alex. 23:58. He exhales, suddenly aware he was holding his breath. He feels both terror and lightness. For the first time in years, the question isn't floating anymore. It has landed. He takes a photo of the paper and sends it to Sato. A simple message. I crossed the line. 2 minutes later, a reply. Good. Now we bind the cut. You too need San no Michi. Right now, your energy might be scattered across 10 kinda sorta paths. No wonder you feel thin, tired, and unsatisfied. What if, for the next year, you chose only 3 main paths? Not 5, not 10, just 3. Everything else becomes background. Hobbies, nice to have, maybe later. This isn't restricting your life. It's sharpening it. Chapter 6. The relapse into doubt. Transformation never moves in a straight line. There is always a relapse. For Alex, it comes 3 months later. He's been attending the dojo twice a week. His strikes are still clumsy, but more committed. He started applying to opportunities in storytelling and content. He even posted his first YouTube video, a shaky, simple story about overthinking. Only 43 people watched it. Still, he felt proud. For once, his ideas existed outside his head. Then one afternoon, an email arrives. Senior position at your current company, the subject line reads. A promotion, more money, more responsibility, a bigger title. It feels like validation, like the universe saying, stay, you are valued here. All the doubts roar back. Maybe I should accept this, he thinks. I mean, it's safer. I can always do storytelling later. Maybe I was being unrealistic. He spends the next week obsessing. He reopens old tabs, searches, is it stupid to leave a stable job for a creative career? He spends less time editing his videos, barely writes. He skips one dojo session. In his mind, the old illusions wake up. Perfect choice. There must be a path where I get both full security and full artistic freedom immediately. Certainty. If only I knew, for sure, which would make me happier long term. Permission. If my parents or friends enthusiastically approved the creative path, then I'd feel okay. Later. Maybe I take the promotion now and try creating later, when I've saved more money. One evening, instead of going to the dojo, he goes straight home, exhausted by his own mind. He opens the promotion email again, hovering over the accept button. His phone buzzes. A message from Sato. You are late. The floor is cold without your indecision. Alex stares at the screen. He hesitates, then puts on his jacket and leaves. In the dojo, only a single light is on. Sato stands by the line of tape on the floor, arms folded. You're drifting, he says as Alex walks in. I got offered a promotion, Alex blurts out. More money, better title, it's a big opportunity. Maybe I should take it. Maybe this whole creative path thing is just a fantasy. Sato says nothing. Alex continues, words spilling out. I mean, it's not like my channel is doing well. I have, 73 subscribers? And I'm almost 30. Maybe I should be realistic and just stabilize. I can always create later, right? I don't know. I just don't want to regret making the wrong decision. He finally stops, out of breath. Sato nods slowly, then walks to the chalkboard. He writes one word, relapse. Every training includes this phase, he says. Do not dramatize it. Do not shame yourself. Observe it. He underlines the word. When you cut in a new direction, your old identity panics, he explains. It sends you gifts from the past. This promotion, it is not evil, but it is aligned with your old story, not your new one. He turns to Alex. What did you choose 3 months ago? He asks. Path 3, Alex says quietly. Move my work toward storytelling and creative media for the next 2 years. 2 years, Sato repeats. Not 3 months. You are trying to harvest in winter. He picks up the paper where Alex had written his original commitment. Sato had printed it and kept it. This, he says, holding it up, is Kiri Musubi, the final pillar. Cut and bind. He sets the paper on the floor and places a small stone on top of it. When a samurai draws his sword and cuts, he does not then pretend it did not happen, Sato says. He binds to the cut. He accepts the consequences. He rebuilds his identity around it. Kiri means cut, he continues. Musubi means to tie, to bind, to connect. Together they mean you do not keep reopening a decision you have already made, just because a shiny new option appears. He steps closer to Alex. Tell me, he says, if this promotion had come 1 year ago, before you chose path 3, what would you have done? I would have taken it immediately, Alex admits. Why? Sato asks. Because I wanted safety, Alex says, and status, and because I didn't have a direction. And now? Sato asks. Do you have a direction? Alex thinks of the late nights writing scripts, the thrill of posting, the messages from a handful of strangers saying, "This video felt like you were inside my head." Yes, he says slowly. I do. Then the promotion is not a miracle, Sato says. It is a test. A test of what? Alex asks. Of your identity, Sato replies. Are you still the man who says yes to the safest option, no matter the cost? Or are you becoming the man who honors his cut? Alex looks at the tape line on the floor. He remembers that night in his kitchen. 23:58, pen shaking. I'm scared, he says. Of what? Sato asks. Of regretting it, Alex says. What if, in 2 years, the creative path doesn't work? What if I end up with less money, less security? Sato nods. That could happen, he says simply. Alex blinks, surprised by the honesty. But regret does not come from losing a bet, Sato continues. Regret comes from betraying yourself. He places a hand lightly on Alex's shoulder. You chose a path that is true to your heart, even if it is uncertain, he says. If you abandon it now for fear, you will teach your unconscious this. We do not protect what we value. We fold under pressure. He steps back. Is that the man you wish to become? He asks. Alex shakes his head. Then answer this, Sato says. Which regret will cut deeper in 10 years? Failing on the creative path after giving it your all, or never giving it a real chance because you were offered a safer seat? The dojo is silent. Deep down, Alex already knows the answer. He imagines himself at 39 looking back. Yeah, I once thought about making stories, building something of my own. But I took a promotion and got busy, and it never happened. That thought hurts more than any potential failure. He takes out his phone, opens the promotion email. For a long moment, he just stares at it. Then, with his thumb, he taps reply. Thank you for this offer, he types. I'm honored. After careful consideration, I've decided to decline and pursue a different direction. I'm grateful for everything I've learned here. He hesitates, heart pounding. Then he hits send. It feels like jumping off a cliff with no guarantee of landing. He shows Sato the screen. That is Kiri, Sato says softly. Now, Musubi. Musubi? Alex asks. Action that binds the decision into your identity, Sato replies. Tonight, before you sleep, you will plan the next 30 days of creative work. Output, not research. And tomorrow, you will publish something again. Not perfect, just real. He points to Alex's chest. Every time you act in alignment with your cut, you are telling your nervous system, this is who we are now. That is how you become unbreakable, not by never doubting, but by choosing even when you do. You will relapse too. You will make a decision, and then life will tempt you back to your old comfort. That's not a sign you chose wrong. It's a sign you are on the threshold of becoming someone new. The question is not, will I doubt? The question is, what do I do when doubt comes? Chapter 7. 1 year later, the man of the single-cut Berlin again. Different season. It's a crisp autumn morning, a year and a half later. A camera is set up in Alex's small apartment. The room is cleaner now, more intentional. A simple desk, a light, a plant in the corner. Alex sits in front of the camera. He looks similar but different. His posture is straighter. His eyes are clearer. There is a quiet, grounded energy about him. He hits record. "Okay," he says, smiling slightly. "Story time." On the screen behind him, his YouTube dashboard is open. There are real numbers now. Tens of thousands of subscribers. Hundreds of comments from people saying his stories helped them make decisions, leave toxic jobs, start healing projects. His income isn't insane, but he now earns from content and freelance storytelling enough to live modestly in Berlin. He still remembers the nights of doubt, the videos that got almost no views, the clients that didn't come. But what's different now is his relationship to decisions. He doesn't spend weeks in research mode anymore. He still gathers information, but within boundaries. He uses no sen for almost everything. Should I take on this client? Deadline, 48 hours. Maximum of 3 options. Should I launch this new series? Deadline, Friday. Decide between yes, no, or later in 6 months. He lives by San no Michi. For this year, his 3 main paths are clear: storytelling and content. Physical training, he still goes to the dojo and he now runs twice a week. Deep relationships, he no longer spreads himself thin in surface-level social circles. Everything else is no for now. He doesn't hate those possible hobbies or projects. He simply knows they can wait. Most importantly, he practices Kiri musubi. When he makes a decision, he binds it into action quickly. Decide to launch a series? He posts the first video that week. Decide to get stronger? He books the training sessions for the next 3 months. Decide to rest? He actually rests, guilt-free, because it too is a chosen cut. He still feels fear. He still has doubts, but they no longer rule him. At the dojo, Sato watches his progress with the same calm expression, though sometimes the corners of his mouth soften. During one session, after a particularly strong strike, Sato says, "Your cut is cleaner." "It still feels messy," Alex replies. "Messy is fine," Sato says. "You cut." They bow to each other. Later that night, Alex walks home through the same street where he first saw the dojo sign. He remembers that younger version of himself, drowning in tabs, floating in later. It feels like looking at an old photograph. You might wonder, what changed his brain? What turned a chronic overthinker into someone capable of decisive action? Part of it is practice. Neuroscience tells us that every pattern you repeat strengthens certain neural pathways. When Alex constantly delayed decisions, he strengthened the hesitate and ruminate circuit. Through Issen no Kiri, he trained something new: shikai. He learned to name the illusions: perfect choice, certainty, permission later, so they lost some of their power. No sen, he set clear deadlines and option limits, reducing decision fatigue. San no Michi, he simplified his life into 3 main paths, reducing cognitive overload. Kiri musubi, he followed decisions with immediate action, rewiring his identity into "I am someone who follows through." Slowly, his default state changed. And this is the part where the story becomes about you. Right now, there is a decision you have postponed for months, maybe years. You know exactly which one I mean. It's the one that feels heavy in your chest when you wake up. The one that shows up in your journal again and again. The one you keep researching but never resolving. It might be leaving or staying in a job, starting or ending a relationship, moving cities, beginning a channel, a business, a project, setting a boundary, changing your body, your lifestyle, your habits. Whatever it is, I want you to pretend you have just walked into Sato's dojo, because now the mentor voice will speak directly to you. Chapter 8. Your call to action. Draw your line. Listen carefully. You and Alex are not so different. You both have a mind capable of infinite simulations. You both have a heart that knows what it wants, even if it's buried under fear. You both were trained by life to seek safety in overthinking. But overthinking is not intellectual sophistication. It is untrained energy. It's time to train it. So here is your practice in Issen no Kiri. First, shikai. See the illusions. Ask yourself, am I waiting for a perfect choice with no trade-offs? Am I demanding certainty before I move? Am I secretly hoping someone will give me permission? Am I telling myself later for the 10th time? If yes, good. You've identified the enemy. Second, en no sen, draw the sacred line. Take that one decision you've postponed. Write it down as a question. Should I nakar sekul? Now give it a real deadline. Not soon. An actual date and time. By when will you decide clearly, yes or no? 24 hours, 3 days, 1 week? Choose the shortest, honest time frame. Then commit. Limit your options to no more than 3 realistic paths. No, maybe if the stars align and I win the lottery scenarios. Third, san no michi. Choose your 3 paths. Zoom out and look at your life. For the next 12 months, what are your 3 main paths? Career, work, body, health, relationships, creative expression, inner healing, spiritual practice. You can't do everything at once. So what are your 3? Write them down. Everything else you bless and release as no for now. Fourth, Kiri musubi, cut and bind. When the deadline arrives, you decide. No more thinking, no more, let me just research a bit more. You choose. Then, within 24 hours, you take one binding action in alignment with that decision. If you decide to leave a job, send the email, update your CV, book a meeting. If you decide to stay, commit to new goals. Stop secretly job hunting, fully show up. If you decide to start a project, publish the first piece, even if it's imperfect. This is how you tell your nervous system. We are no longer people who hover, we cut. Now I want to challenge you. What decision have you been postponing for months or years? You know the answer already. Say it out loud if you can. Whisper it if you must. Now, choose your en no sen. Pick a deadline. Not next year. Not someday when I feel ready. An actual date. Write it down. Then decide how you will bind your cut. What is one concrete action you will take within 24 hours after deciding? You might be afraid. You might doubt. That's okay. You don't need to become fearless to be decisive. You need to move with your fear, not wait for it to disappear. Remember Alex standing over the tape line. Remember his shaking hand as he circled path 3. Remember him a year later, living a life shaped not by luck, but by a series of cuts. This too can be you. Not because you watched one video and felt motivated, but because you chose a path and stayed on it long enough to see it bear fruit. You are not the prisoner of your thoughts. You are the swordsman who can train them. So, when this ends, don't open another video right away. Take 5 minutes. Name the decision. Draw the line. Choose your 3 paths. Plan your binding action. And then, when your deadline arrives, remember Issen no Kiri and cut. Be present. Walk with honor. Follow the path.